Welcome to Paratruth.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans.
The Church of Mavis Radio Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana Fiestra, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered.
man. Y'all weren't going to get any song tonight, but John asked me about something when we were just before we came live, and I got to thinking about it. I said, what'd be appropriate since it's a new year? I figured that would be pretty good, y'all.
There we go. We're on our way to the extinction of humanity.
Don't give me ideas. Hey, look, it's looking pretty extinct here lately. Caroline, yes, I am from New Orleans, and yes, I actually had family down in the quarter when it happened. Yes. Well, actually, I have daughter-in-law that works downtown, so yeah, it's just one of the things. No, they're all safe, and they were good. And thank God it was only 3:15 a.m. in the morning, because it would have been far worse if it would have been midnight. I mean, I don't know if y'all understand what. If you ever go look at some of the, you can go watch video from like Mardi Gras or different holidays. It's from wall to wall, just shoulder to shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, up and down the entire street. So if you'd have turned in there, it would have been bad. It would have been bad. We'll just leave it at that. Actually, we're supposed to have Lazarus Black. I haven't seen him. I don't know. I think he's out partying. You know, he's up there in Washington State, and they're kind of freewheelers out there in Washington State. So
I texted him, told him that you sent the link for him.
Yeah, he's no telling he might be in the middle of something. No. So how was everybody's New Year's? Y'all had a good New Year's? I mean, John was out there dancing naked in L.A., man, right in Hollywood Boulevard. I was calling Emily, what the hell? Y'all ever heard this song, The Street Boogie There, Boogie There? I'm telling you, man, y'all should have been watching. What do you mean? Oh, you mean John would have been, what's her name? Wilma? What's that? What her name was? Wilma, what are you doing that? Yeah, I remember. Oh my God! Hey, it's a new year. We get to be crazy in the new year. No, John. No, he's no. Seriously, he's a married man. Yes.
Very.
Yes. When he says very, he means the word very too. I personally know the woman. He's very married. No, she's a sweetheart. No, she comes every now and then we see her. Yeah, she pops on every once in a while, causes some trouble and leaves, like the whirlwind she is. No, I get the pick on her because she gives me trouble all the time. So that's one of the things. So people, what are y'all playing this year? I mean, we're gonna have a new president in 16 days now, and God knows what that's gonna render for the world. Jennifer, I have no comment until ask me this. What is this? So this is January 4th. Ask me this January 4th, 2026, and we'll chat. Okay, give him a year to do whatever, and then we can chat. Unless it's just something insane, and then we'll chat sooner. It's one of those things. Besides, News on the Flip Side does a lot of that. I mean, not as much right now because we're not in a political season anymore. So the show, that's why it's news on the flip side, because we do some flip side stuff as well. So it's like John dancing naked through Los Angeles. That was flip side. We had cameras on the scene, the whole 9 yards. There's for this year, the network. You'd have to ask Michelle about that. That's her department. Yes. I just cried to a baby like her and asked her to do this for me. She gets it done. I'm like, Michelle, come on. She's like, she goes and does it. No, she's really good at what she does. No, use if you're on Rumble, by the way, you can chat to us from Rumble. We have 2 YouTube pages right now you can chat to us from on UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials and UFO Paranormal Radio. You can chat off of both of those. Or there are 4 Facebook pages open. So there's the main UFO Paranormal page. You can chat from there, or News on the Flip Side page, or the iCar page, or one of my personal pages is open as well. So, yes. I mean, y'all can use Messenger, but I would prefer that you do it there, because when you do it there, I can highlight the chat. Yeah, it allows us to highlight it. Yeah, it does. No, really, it does. Hold on, I just see Lazarus pop. I'm going to drag you up in a second. Myrtle, you know what? Ask me that. You know what? The chat comes on tonight from 7 to 9, the new show. And you know, it's a question better for that show than for this show. How was that? We don't do politics here. Sorry, guys. Oh, man, where you been hiding, man? Man, I thought I was going to have to send the squad out for you or something. Oh, okay. Can you hear us? No, we can't hear you.
You're muted. Unmute. There we
read the
go.
Central Time as Pacific Time. So sorry about that.
I figured that 90% of the time when something happens, that's what it is. It's a time related thing. Because every now and then I've got this little thing on my, because I got to do it so much. I got this little thing up here that goes across telling me all the times. Because man, it's too much to remember, to be honest with you. So what you been up to, Laz? I mean, life's good. Things are good.
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. The gallery's been going strong. That we spent the better part of the year working, trying to get the book published that Echo's been illustrating for the last 4 years, Maya, and we got in the printed proof of it to approve, which is 21 inches tall.
Oh shit, huh? Well, tell her when she's ready. We need to drag her ass. Well, I mean, I know she's got her own show, but we need to drag her on here. Well, I don't know how much of it she wants to show, though. You know, that's a tricky thing when you got.
We got a little bit.
When will it release?
That's the good question. We're at. I just hit the approve button. Sorry, I just hit the next approve button on it, and we're doing everything we can to get it in before any kind of tariffs get raised.
Oh, that would be nice. Oh no, Jimmy, the show that comes on before this one, the professional Echo Chunk, that's his wife. Yes, that's who we're talking about. I'm sorry, guys. I should have interjected something somewhere along the line. Yes, no, yeah. Anyway, now y'all know. So now you know who we're talking about. So I want to see this thing. So give her some shit when you see her. Tell Joe, say, come on. You know, all she got to do is she can get hold of any of us. Me, John, Carmen.
Oh,
Well,
looks like we got a preview.
This is the white proof without any printing on it.
Shit.
And with a pretend cover, not pretend cover, but
I know what you mean.
What the cover is going to look like.
Holy crap! Oh, jeez! Oh, I like its gold. That's nice.
How many pages?
Oh my God! This is like
how many
huge.
pages?
It's 1,280, I think. 140.
Well, there's got to be some stuff we can look at there for sure, man.
How many color plates will it be?
Completely a white. This was just a test for the actual size and make sure what the paper was like. And
so, what are we going to be asking for this thing? Like $500 or something?
Yeah. It's sorry. It was pre-order for $250. Then it was initially. Then it went up to $300, and then when we get it in, I think it's going up to $400, and that's
I could see that. Wow, look,
$400.
First off, I know Echo's work. So I mean, she's just fabulous, and it's going to be well worth it. But
it's over 100. It's 105 chapters. She has an illustration for every single chapter, as well as 8 full-page illustrations, and then 8 full color illustrations, plus about 80 spot illustrations throughout.
Who wrote the stuff?
Richard Adams. He's most famous for writing Watership Down.
Oh yeah,
and he also wrote several fantasy novels, including this one. And this happens to be Echo's favorite novel of all time. And he passed away in, I think, 2014. And she was able to reach out to his estate, his manager for his properties, and she negotiated and purchased the rights to publish this edition. So it is an official edition.
Wow, that's fabulous. Cool.
That's awesome.
That's going to be fabulous. We'll definitely have to be. Tell us and make me a damn commercial. I'll put it on the network. I'll make all the hosts play it. I'm serious. No, John, we don't do it for everybody, but I know she's a cool person.
Awesome.
She's somewhere on this network. There's several links to her website you can go to. She's got all kinds of stuff all over the place. But we've done shows, her and I together, like on her Naughty collection, which that's a good show. Y'all should go. 21.
Well, she has a show with you guys.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And she does a lot of fabulous work there. She's doing good. She's always sitting in the mid fours somewhere. She's in a good slot between John and I. So And we're trying to develop this day, this 5-8 hour day we're going to have now, just to sell stuff. Sorry, Kimberly. No, really though. I mean, guys, we don't ask anybody to buy anything else anywhere else on the network. We got a big network, over almost 40 shows now. I said, but Saturday's the day. Pay back, help the host out, help the freaking network out for that matter. Jesus, yeah, you don't have to come live with me. I'm a pain in the ass, right?
So, Laz, how's your writing coming along, Lazarus?
Good and slow. Because of the challenges with Maya being so large, I set aside a good portion of time so that I could focus, my energy on that. While I didn't do the art, I was doing the entire layout and proofreading. I've read this novel so many times.
It's one of the ones that could be stuck in your head.
Yeah, it's like going through. I mean, you know what it's like. That there's no better way of finding a typo than to publish it. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
found a couple published errors in the original, and had to go back and forth with the agents and the family to see if those are the type of errors that they actually want corrected, or if they
just leave it in there because it's been so long.
Yeah. And then a couple errors that might have accidentally been changed on my end, I had to go through and fix. So that was, 1,200 pages is no slouch, and it's the two of us.
That's a lot of reading. That's a lot of reading,
but,
especially if you got to really pay attention to what you're reading.
Oh yeah, there's watch your P's and Q's is an old printer term. I know somebody claims it's from the Navy, but it absolutely is not. It predates the Navy, and the Echo is leaning over my shoulder.
Hey, what you doing, girl?
And but as far as my writing is concerned, that my novel has been out for almost a year now. Actually, no, it's been out for over a year now, and it's been selling pretty good. I sell it just direct to people out of my gallery and in person. My collection of short stories has been really popular. It's got some attention from some people, including a filmmaker, that who knows what'll happen with anything like that. Book 2 is been one of those, when you have extra time to think about it, you can actually talk yourself out of good ideas and then talk yourself back into it. Yes, there it is. That's my first one, The True Dragon of Atlanta.
There we go. Yeah.
It sits right here with the Writers of the Futures books. Where it's been for a while.
It is. It's a standalone, but a lot of advice told me to turn it into a series. So the characters that survive move on to another story, and I'm crafting that story, and I've gone back and forth and gone full circle several times on it, but I've got my teeth back into it, and I'm really excited with where this is going to go.
That's good. Are you staying in Atlanta?
I'm sorry?
Are you staying in Atlanta?
When?
With The True Dragon of Atlanta.
Am I staying in Atlanta?
The story.
My story is in Atlanta. Sorry, I misheard. Yes, the story takes place in the city of Atlanta.
But the sequel is going to stay in Atlanta? Was the question?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Atlanta's a big city.
Well, Atlanta's a big city. I chose it because I needed a story. I needed a city with as many dichotomies as possible.
It's a good one.
And as much as I love New York, that there are things that's missing from it, and Atlanta had.
But you can go to art school in New York.
Well, there's one near Atlanta too.
That's true. We have a winner this year from the art school that's near Atlanta. It's
Savannah.
Savannah, yeah. Yeah, so we have a winner from there. So we're hoping to go there when we come out for DragonCon this year.
Cool. Yeah, both Echo and I received full scholarships from Savannah back in the day, but we both chose Pratt instead.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. Just there's, what we wanted. The careers were based in New York, and we want to be close to that.
Yeah. That's why I suggested she can go to art school in New York, because that's where you guys went. And you could speak with reality about some of the haunts that only someone who'd been there would know about.
Oh yeah, well, the city's changed, but we were there during the tail end of the dangerous years. And
When you write fantasy and the kind of fantasy you've got there in that book, you can all of a sudden open a portal and there you are back there at Pratt and.
Oh yeah, you can do those things.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about Atlanta is that it has such a huge, diverse crowd of people to draw from, similar to New York, but there's also some rather prominent lines you can draw a little bit more, which is fun to play with. You know,
it's a lot cheaper to live in Atlanta too than it is in New York.
I don't know about these days. It's getting pretty bad in Atlanta.
Well, I won't go to New York for the Comic Con, but I'll definitely go to Atlanta for Dragon Con.
That cost of living in New York City is almost comparable to San Diego.
San Diego's nice. I would live in San Diego tomorrow.
San Diego's not pretty expensive. It's not as expensive as Sacramento. As San Francisco or LA. There was a study that came out, I saw it 2 weeks ago, about the top 50 most expensive cities to live in, or top 10, whatever it was. California had 6 of the top 10.
Yeah,
most expensive places to live. It's just, it's driving people out. Just it's so expensive to live here. And then they come up with these proposed studies. Okay, let's pass this bill to get more tax, and so the more you tax, the more people want to leave because it just costs so much money. They just, I think it's
moving to Texas right
now for
minimum
minimum
and then the
wage.
people from those regions move out and they take over those areas, and they think everything's so cheap, and they blow up the housing prices there and push the locals out.
Look at poor Austin, man. Austin used to be a cheap college town, great city to move to. All kind of people lived in that. Freaking place is outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
Especially for a southern city, it's just insanely expensive. Except for Atlanta. Atlanta's outrageous. My sister bitches all the time. She wants to move downtown. It's not, I'm not paying $5,000 a month just for this little hole in the wall. It's not going to happen. Because she's got a big 5,000 square foot house. She's like, no, it's not going to happen. But I like Atlanta. I always have fun when I go. It's Atlanta's kind of like, see, New Orleans is like 4 cities in one. Atlanta's more like 7 cities in one. Especially the way it's broken up.
Oh, John, you'll like this. Something happened really cool earlier this week.
Yeah.
A gentleman came into the art gallery and looked around, and he glanced at my trophy, and then he looked at the gold wings that we have from the huge wings.
Yeah.
And he asked what they were about. And I told him, Writers of the Future, Illustrators of the Future. His eyes went wide and went, I'm submitting to them for the very first time this quarter.
Oh, that's great. It's amazing how, now we're in the second quarter now of year 42. We had our 2 winners from Costa Rica a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
That one story of Miguel, when he went to get his visa, because usually I have a problem with their guys when they're single. And there's, you're not going to come back. But then when the person at the agent looked at it and saw those Illustrators of the Future, says, oh, Illustrators of the Future, you won? Oh, that's awesome. Stamp.
Yeah, Laz, are you listening to us through speakers? Because I'm getting a little bit of feedback. And Heidi,
sorry.
It's just Heidi, how you doing? Colorado. Is it cold there yet? It's going to be 29 down here next week. We're going to bullshit as that. I literally live so far south.
This is an author show.
Hey, BS is a word authors use. I literally live so far south that I can walk out of my door and walk into the water. You can't even go any further south than I live. It's not around here anyway. And it's going to be 29. I'm like, come on. This is not up north. And all my friends up north say, oh, it's going to be 70. I'm like, what? Kiss off. I said kiss. Frank, Laz's been around for a while. He's been on the show for a couple of times.
Yeah.
And he's been on John Trader on this one. No, Echo's his wife. A guy? What are you talking about? Have you ever watched their show? There's no way possible you could see Echo and think she was a guy. Unless, I mean, wait, let me rephrase. If you're blind, no, even if you're blind, you just
not even if you're blind, impossible.
It's an impossibility. I personally know the girl. I mean, well, I don't know what to tell you. Go buy some glasses. I can't tell you.
And a hearing aid.
Yes, and a hearing aid. Yes, definitely and a hearing aid as well.
So now, Lazarus, when I first met you guys, you're heavy into the convention circuit. I think it's when I first met you. Maybe even been at DragonCon, or also was it San Diego. But what's your plan this year for conventions?
So we're still doing the big ones for us. We're doing Emerald City, and because that's local.
That's just in your backyard.
Yeah. We'll be doing DragonCon, San Diego Comic-Con. Sorry, Comic-Con International in San Diego, Gen Con in Indianapolis, and DragonCon, and a bunch of local ones. Because we're in the Pacific Northwest, RadCon in Pasco in the Tri-City areas is actually a lot of fun with hardcore fans. Easy to do. That's a lot of fun.
I'm just trying to work with you guys to get to Salt Lake City. That's not going to pan out. You're not going to pursue that. FanX?
I don't think so. I you know what? Don't take my word for it.
Yeah.
Echo is the one who does all those schedulings, and she's the one who determines it.
That's
so
our best job. Yeah.
That I know that it's usually in conflict with DragonCon, and not just in conflict on the exact dates. It's usually too close to it for us to actually read.
2 weeks, yeah.
I
mean, it wouldn't even be worth you going home, really, especially if you drove.
Yeah, last year we kind of found a way of working it out.
But
I
Echo
think
flies to place, and Lazarus drives.
Yeah,
exactly. I like driving. I like driving across the country.
From Seattle to San Diego to Indianapolis to Atlanta to home. That's a
trip.
That's
a trip. That's not playtime.
Much more fun when you're just out of college than it is now.
Well, it was fun when we had a lot of shows to do in between.
A lot of them disappeared. Yeah, that's everything though. In all the different areas, they seem to be just big shows now, and not so many little shows.
There are little ones. There are some of the mid-sized ones. Are the ones that are kind of going away, and then you have fan run shows are always good for us when they're started by fans for fans and they care about a fan experience. As soon as the show turns to be about ticket sales and about bringing as many bodies as possible and trying to they want to lure in the Hollywood studios to buy the $200,000 booths and things. That's when they start, not being good for us, because our products, our art, my writing is more niche. Hardcore fans of things get it. They love it. But if there's someone walking through and they're not bored of Batman yet, and that's all and they just want to see Batman everywhere, that's not our crowd.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem I had with San Diego Comic-Con. You call it Comic-Con International or whatever it is. To me, it's SDCC. But I do it because for me, it's like backyard. I don't have to fly there. I just drive a couple hours to get down there. Yeah. And so that's how, if that wasn't the way it would be, I don't know that I'd still be going to it. I've been going to it since the late 80s. Yeah. And it's definitely changed a whole lot. It's been very Hollywoodized, But because we've been there for so long, we have a lot of repeat business now. People come back to get the next book or the next books, or they bring their kids or their grandkids because they're, we got a very good location, on the main aisle. And so we've been there for a long time. So just people come and they get more books, and they always get the next Rise of the Future book minimally. And so that works out good.
It is that way for us here in Seattle. About 7-8 years ago or so, that the show here in Seattle was, because Seattle's so far away from everything, and there are all the board gaming companies are in the area, that it was a general geek con. It was called Emerald City Comic Con, but it was just a generalized geek con. So, you would have Doctor Who, you have Dungeons and Dragons, you would have all the sci-fi games and properties everywhere. You'd have indie comics everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. People would come in, they would have their 4-day passes, and they would literally come into the city and spend the entire week, each day, doing something completely different. And that was great for us. We that was our crowd. Then they sold out to a company that has tried to turn it into exclusively a comic book convention, and kind of
You shove everything in Comic Con anyway.
And they're trying to promote it to get as many families in there as possible, and that's not our crowd. So we go there because it's local and we have, people who see us, but it's nowhere near as beneficial to us as
I was going to ask you, because I know they got all those Game Boy conferences now.
Yeah.
Or there's not as many as it was, but there's still quite a few of them around the country.
Oh, there are a lot. Yeah.
I was surprised first. I knew a lot of people going back to playing board games during COVID, and I grew up on board games, so it wasn't a big thing to me, but still, when I started hearing about conferences for board games, what do you possibly? How many board games are really good? What can you possibly do? So I was amazed. I was amazed at what turnout they got, how many people go there. I also found that there's places you can get your own booths and stuff like you do at any other places. And I said, well, this is cool, man. I said, there's definitely some authors that would probably make some money in places like this. Not all of them, mind you, but there are some that definitely make money in places like that.
Gen Con was started by the people at TSR with Dungeons and Dragons.
I was going to say, wasn't one of those cons up there was the TSR? That's Gen Con. Okay.
That's Gen Con, and that's one in Indianapolis. And it has a long history of having fantasy authors, be really popular there. And so that's one of those places that, I hope to one day secure a booth, secure a table there on my own.
You need somebody to die to be able to move up the waiting list?
No, actually, I need someone to help out with Echo's booth, because to be honest, it's so busy there that I can't breathe. There's no way I could get away from the booth.
Oh,
it's one of Echo's most popular shows, so.
Well,
I just put up my books there at the booth, and 1 out of 50 people, whatever, looking at the art, glance at the book, and I'm able to talk about it.
Oh, you're a reader? No, I was just looking at the art. Oh,
see, make Echo do it. Make Echo redo the cover and put the thing in front of it. Put the book next.
No. She found the artist for my cover. So
no, I didn't mean it like that. Just so there was a bigger version of it there. So when people looked at it, you say, well, yeah, let's talk about the book. Any excuse.
You got a good cover. It's a good book.
Oh, thank you.
And speaking of, we're going to give a book away today called Game On. I'm not even sure where this came from. Any of y'all recognize this?
No.
Game On.
Who's the author?
It just says edited. And this is
who edited
the first printing, Kickstarter edition, first printing.
Who edited it?
It says Tony Pye, P.I., just Tony.
Oh, Tony Pye. He's a Rise of the Future winner from.
Oh, okay. And
he's the one that same year Stephen Kotowicz.
Yep, Kotowicz. That's him.
Yeah, he was a grand prize winner. That was funny. He was a grand prize winner from. They're both from Toronto. Tony is a professor of physics, I think. And we had Jerry Purnell, and who was Jerry Purnell and Yoji Kondo, I think, were the two judges, and they were talking to Stephen Kotowich, and because first place winners are the ones up to be the grand prize winner. And so they were talking to him. He says, you're oh yeah, don't worry, you didn't win. And so he was like, he was all relieved. And Yoji Kondo says, yeah, you got your science wrong too in the book, because it takes place in, it was Saturn in G minor was the name of the story, now that I remember it. And so they were just talking a little bit, and then they went on his way. He went, sat down. He thought it was okay, good. I don't have to worry about, I don't have to hyperventilate. I could just be here and just enjoy it. One of these other three guys are going to get it. And then I was looking back at him as it was being announced who the grand prize winner was. And you could see it also because we had the camera. And and they said, and the grand prize winner is, they opened up the envelope, Stephen Kotowich. And there was this pause. And he was now seeing, like, he jerked and went, and then he stood up. He was totally shocked because he was convinced that he wasn't the winner because he'd been told. And Jerry afterwards says, "I gotcha," you know.
No, Carol, we're going to give it away. B. Johnson's with us in the next hour, so we're going to give it away in the second hour. I always like when people send me books with money. Send it away.
Yeah, so that's the. He was on. Stephen was on the podcast a couple months ago, earlier in 2024, and just super nice guy. He's Canadian, so he's the kind of guy you can run into him and bruise him, and he'll apologize to you for getting in your way. You know, he's such a nice guy. It's like that standard Canadian jokes, you know, but he's very much like that.
Oh no, that one up there. No, you have to go online and buy that.
Yes,
that's my copy.
So, Lazarus, when's your book going to be ready? Your next one?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I can plan everything I want. Probably I've got.
In the best of all worlds.
Best of all worlds, it will be ready by March.
Okay.
Best of all worlds. I had hoped to be able to have it ready in time to bring to Superstars, but then things turned out differently, and I'm not going to Superstars. So, I'm able to write them faster now.
Yeah. Well, if you can get me an ARC or even just a galley, like that hasn't had the final proofread, I won't read it from that perspective. And then when you come out for Writers of the Future, we can do an interview.
Thank you very much. I will do my best. And
then we'll air it just before the book releases, so we can use it as part of your pre-publicity hype.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. I don't have a lot left. I don't have a lot left to concept with it. As I said, I went full circle. I had a great idea for a villain, and then I deviated from it. I kept thinking about different ways, and I came back, and now I'm back with my original villain and my original premise again, and everything's going smoothly.
It's funny how that works.
A lot of times that's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. The first idea is the best idea. A lot of times.
You had a good villain on your first book.
I'm going to be doing things differently in the second book because I don't want every book to be identical. This is I originally had a concept that was similar to the first one. I said no, don't repeat. So
you still have the same main character, the same main heroine, right?
Yeah, okay. Same heroine, same people. Just the first one was the book ends with a large portion of her issues resolved, but not all of them.
Right.
And the ones that, and most of those are ones that were problems at the beginning of the book, not new.
Yeah. No, that's good. But she's cool. She's definitely a conflicted person, but she does the right thing.
No, it's an exercise. It's an illustration in neurodivergence. I think the entire every character is quite unique and has their own specialness about them. Uh, I did not write her character from the point of view of an everyday or an every person. You know, she is unique, she's interesting, she's different. You know, maybe somebody might see something in themselves in her, but ultimately I just want them to enjoy the ride of what
Yeah.
it's like to be her.
Yeah, I didn't get the idea you're preaching, which is good because I don't like preaching books.
Oh,
You know,
that's good.
just a person you can like just, wow, that's pretty cool. It's a new take, or somebody that like she's playing with the cards she's been dealt and she's doing a good job of it. So that was pretty cool.
Well, she sometimes does a good job of it. But that's, of course, you know, the journey. That's what life is.
Exactly.
Figuring-
Exactly. I mean, if everybody does everything right the first time, then there's not a whole lot of interest that means is maintained. You got to have a couple loses to be able to appreciate the wins.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to learn over the course of it.
Yeah.
Especially like some of my Richie Snobby friends that wouldn't know what losing was if their life depended on it. But Jack, you know, it makes them absolute and total snob. I can deal with them because I understand how to deal with snobby people.
What do you mean? That's what I think about you, Joe. You're like one of my Richie Snobby friends.
No, trust me. You meet these people, you'd be like, oh my God. They are just no people. I mean, they don't even realize they're being snobs. I mean, they'll do stuff like, well, you know, we were having a conversation about it was freezing outside. Go get my coats and whatever. So, you know.
Keep close to the microphone. I can't hear you.
I said we were talking about it was somewhere it was freezing, and I said, well, I'm gonna have to go outside and get my coat out. My car, that sucks. And they looked at me and one of the other girls said, yeah, I'm going to get mine too. And the other one looks over and says, well, oh no, I'll just have Robert, my driver, bring it up to me. I'm like, and then pull up in front of Bill and pick me up. I'm like, yeah, why don't you bite this? But she didn't even realize she was being a snot. And she does that. And a couple of my friends like that. They're too rich for their own good is what it is. And I always tell them, they tell me stuff. I said, why don't you make a donation to the station? Oh, Joe, you know. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I said, you keep telling me you're my friend. I ain't seen no donations. You must not really be my friend. It's but they can't help themselves. They're just who they are and what they are. And it's because they've been raised. You ever see Elon's son X? Why you name your kid X? We're not going to go there. But I've heard that little kid talk now. Oh my God, he's going to be a demon. Yeah, he's going to be like a terror demon. He's going to be. He will never understand what even lose, failure, any other thing is because they just buy him out of it. Anyway, enough of that.
That's not an issue I had to worry about.
So yeah, unfortunately I had to work when I was young. So
I was raised with a little bit of a different thing. Both my parents were autistic, and all their friends were scientists and engineers and stuff. Yeah, so they would come over to the house, and they would have really high end intellectual discussions about everything. And I didn't know that it wasn't what everybody did.
Let's people be looking at you. You want to talk about what? No, I don't think so.
I mean, when a dinner conversation about we serve ice cream, and and my dad's really old chemist friend who had his own chemical company would turn to me and start describing the exact molecular structure of capsaicin and why ice cream would be chemically the perfect resolution to anything, the spicy foods. And I'm just sitting there, well, it's like 7 or 8, and to this day I remember it because it was just but that was our dinner conversations.
Wow.
So when I ended up going to art school, I was a little bit of an outcast for the weird reason.
Yeah,
it's a good reason to be an outcast though. Education's always a good thing. I tell people all the time, you shouldn't be scared to show that you're educated.
I mean, it just boils down to whatever you're exposed to,
It does. I came from a fairly strict family where education was an important thing. So
yeah, both my parents were teachers, so I had.
My mom was like Beaver Cleaver. Mrs. Cleaver. I begin to
Mrs.
swear.
Cleaver.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, she was.
Were you the Beeve?
No, I was not actually the bad one, but still.
You're Wally?
I was. I mean, she was insane, and plus, we had rules about all sorts of things, and we had to learn new words. You had to learn a really hard word once a week, and then new words every day. She just wanted us to, broaden our horizons. And I'm like, Mom, if I talk like that in public, I'm gonna get beat up. Even though I was a fairly decent sized guy, I'm gonna get beat up. I was like, I can't use those words in public. They're gonna look at me like I'm stupid. Now, in private school, it's different, but when I was in public school, oh no, no, no. If I went around talking like that, somebody's gonna just lose their mind. Just get stupid. I said, but it's just how our country is, unfortunately. Maybe it's changing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We got a lot of look. Before anybody sends me any emails about anything, all I'm gonna tell you is, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, we got a lot of waiting to see over the next eons. It's gonna feel like it.
Now, one thing too that we haven't mentioned about, but just is interesting, is because I do like to talk about Rise of Features. Maybe some of you guys know that, but Lazarus is the only judge we have who has won. He's an illustrated feature judge, but he also won the Rise of Feature contest. So he's both an artist and an author. Accomplished it both now because he's an award-winning author, and you'll sometimes see on his if you Google him, you'll see him with his bling, his big 3-inch medallion across his chest that he'll wear. That he's the author stud.
You have to have something as a signature, right?
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd be good at something if you can't tell somebody about. Janice, anything he's written you can get online. The one because that's an autograph copy. You can't have that one, but it's you can get it online. Just go to Amazon or wherever. I'm sure it's everywhere.
So my novel is only available through my website directly from me.
You said you got to go to his website.
But my collection of stories, Lazarus Black Anthology, that is available through Amazon as an ebook. So talked to a lot of the authors, Writers of the Future and elsewhere, and the prevailing wisdom is that there's a risk with launching a single book onto Amazon because of the way their algorithm works, and it's best to launch a series at once. So once I get 3 books, then I'll probably put all of them up simultaneously as an ebook to get more attention. In the meantime, I'm selling direct is doing pretty well for me. I'm not selling to millions of people or thousands of people getting the word out, but I'm, making personal connections with people, and, that people, I had one woman come up to me and Gen Con actually, and she was bouncing up and down. She's like, my friend bought your book, and I just have to get it because I'm so glad that that you wrote about an unstable female character.
There's a few of them out there.
And I'm like, it's like, yes, she has ADHD, probably like you. Yeah. That's not an insult. I have ADHD, but it's like one of those, it connects with the right people. That's the most important thing. You want to get the book into the hands of the people who are really going to be interested and appreciate it. It's not a popcorn book. It's not something that just anyone can just read in an evening and feel good about and then move on to the next book. I want it to be something that stays with people.
Now, give me your website right quick so they know where to find you.
Lazarus, your website?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my name, Lazarus.Black. Yes, .black, BLACK is the extension, not .com, not .net. Lazarus.Black. I was so excited to see that I was able to get that.
It is nice when you get it, when you find a domain name that you want, you can get it. Over the years, I've been lucky, but still, sometimes it's hard to get them.
So we just take the name that we see at the bottom of your screen there and just put a period between the Lazarus and the Black, and that's how they reach you.
Yeah. And I just put it in the chat as well. I wonder if I could have. I probably should have put that in my in my name. Oh well, it's too late now. But yes, just my name as it's spelled, just a period between Lazarus and Black. And yes, Black is my actual name. It's a translation of my actual name, but it is my name.
Yeah. Now, if you go to Lazarus Black, if you go to your picture in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen there,
Yes.
and those three little dots up in the upper right-hand corner,
Yes.
click on that.
Okay.
And edit name and headline.
I do not see that as an option. Oh, wait. There we go. Sorry, I was at the wrong one. There we go.
Just do return line and yeah, that's the link there.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I am really excited to I was voting for the Illustrators of the Future, and it's just some really, really good people this year. Echo's been art directing, but she doesn't let me see anything to see what the finished products are going to be. But and I've been following the winners, some from all over. So it's
yeah, we have our big cover reveal coming up the end of this month, the end of January.
Yeah, I got the invitation for it.
Yeah.
Who did the cover this year?
Craig Elliott.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Which no, I don't get to see until they get to see.
You get to see it on the 31st, the same time that everybody else sees it.
John will tell me the day before so I can come see it. Yeah. He's like that.
I'm telling you right now, Joe.
He treats me wrong. Right? He knows I can't remember nothing between now and then. He knows this is a waste of time. What's that, Martian? No, really, my memory is horrible. I tell people when I'm going to be a guest in the show, if I'm doing lectures, be sure to remind me like the day before. That's it, because I'll go off on a tangent somewhere.
I'm really excited about the future because more than anything, people are starting to realize who has been helping and influencing their careers, and not their fandom. You know, it's people are now going, you know, they're caring about who their comic artists are and who their anime influences are, who their not just who their authors are. People always did that, but you know, the artists of these didn't always get the best credit. But and then the public still has, you know, it's dying down. They used to have an idea that there was a huge barrier between so-called fine art, real art, and commercial art. And the older I get, the more I learn, the more I study, and the more I see, you know, there are a large group of people who understand and see the difference and the value of what is going into producing things. And I just learned that Salvador Dali actually did a corporate logo once. And I was floored, not because he did it, but because it was one that I recognize, and one that it wasn't like just doing it for a friend or something. It was for a Spanish candy company called Chupa Chups. And it's a classy, effective logo. It is not outrageous. It's not something you'd go, oh, only some surrealist artist would come up with this. Like, no, it was just good art and a good product. And it's, you know, seeing more of things like that, playing it is sort of bringing the art community together much more strongly. You know, the more we share things like this, because right now there are the AI generated technology that's out there is being pushed so hard by all the companies that invested in it, and it's those of us in the arts and the creatives, are doing our best to try to remind people. And it's lovely to see the response that people actually are caring.
Yeah.
That there is something.
That's
Yeah,
good.
actually, people do care. I mean, I bitch about it all the time, and people do care about it. Even on some of the other shows where we do AI, it's just AI for whatever it may be, not just for art. Things we talk about, how many jobs are AI going to take? And we talk about the art fields, just so many places that just take jobs away from people.
It's not just the jobs. Artists and creatives, we go into these jobs often because nowadays they use the term neurodivergent. There's a deep-seated need inside of us to create, to share a message, a voice of something that we have, and we've dedicated our entire lives to it. And by putting tools in people's hands, if you put the tool in someone's hands who's supposed to be hiring people, they're not getting the best work. They're just getting, generic stuff that they're not changing or influencing the culture at all. They're literally just reproducing the same schlock that people have liked for a long time, but they're also stealing from people, who helped shape that vision. But there can be a time, and I've written a couple stories like this, but I haven't finished them because it's too painful. But there's going to be a choice if people have the ability to just tell me a story the way I want versus reading a book that's written by somebody else. If they're just trained to only enjoy what they want, nothing's going to get shared. No ideas are going to pass between people. That's why Studio Ghibli called it a crime against humanity. It's because it's literally blocking up and preventing people and encouraging them to stay insular and not look at the rest of the world and listen to anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, we had at Christmas you office giveaway stuff, and my big thing is cinnamon. I love all things cinnamon, and so we do a thing called KK's, Kris Kringle, where you pick names and then you do 4 days of giving a small gift and a final gift for Christmas. And so everybody in the office does that, and you find out who the person was that was gifting you. And so every day I had this long 1-page to 2-page story, a short story about something Cinnamonville, cinnamon this, cinnamon that. And all it was, they put prompts in. And the thing is, it's clever how it can do something like that so fast. But the thing with anything generated by the AI storytelling is it's very flat. There's not the creativity that you'll get because I read a book a week for my podcast. And so, like what you wrote in your book, there's no way an AI could come up with that. It's actually impossible. And the other books that I read too is like, it's impossible to do. There's too much grit. There's too much how one word can be in this paragraph can mean one thing and then a totally different thing in another paragraph. It's not going to know that to be able to distinguish. The same thing with AI generated audiobooks, the inflection and what to do on this word versus another use of that word later on. It just, maybe it's the point that it's not there yet, but it's absolutely not there regardless of what's going to happen in the future. It is so not there that if somebody's interested in actually reading a good story or listening to a good audiobook, you have to go and do the real thing.
You need to. It's what's that, Christopher? I like a good audiobook. I do.
I would love to do an audiobook of mine, but I don't think it would be possible, let alone affordable.
Yeah, well, because it takes up a lot of time. I mean, it's not, and that's if you just do an audiobook, just voice, nothing, no music, no
Bee's
sound
trying to get in.
Yes, yeah, she just hasn't come on the screen yet.
Yeah, she just texted me saying, "Can you hear me?" I said, "No." Here you come.
Okay. Hello, who is this, please? Who is this?
Hi, Bea.
Hi, Les. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Bea.
Can't see you.
Yeah, I didn't know I needed my camera up. If you wouldn't mind, just give me just a few minutes.
You good? Don't worry about it. You
I
good?
can set it up for you guys.
Yeah, 2 minutes to get your camera on. Otherwise, we're sending a hit squad to deal with it.
Yes, we got the new camera squad out there.
We're gonna send the camera squad there.
That's right.
All right. Do you want me to set up my camera?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Well, we always leave that up to the guests. But,
Okay, I will. If you could just give me a few minutes, I will magically transform schoolgirl wise into some actual clothes and not pajamas, and I will be ready.
You could just leave it like
don't
that.
feel bad. I've done shows. I've done shows.
You're not about to see my stars and stripes pajamas. I'm not at all. I'll be
the all-American girl.
But yeah, I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, take your time. Carly, that was Bea Johnson. She'll be back in a few minutes. So.
Yeah. So then,
Bea Jackson.
Yeah,
Bea Jackson. I didn't say Johnson. Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah,
I had Johnson in my brain from something else.
So then on these shows, then, so are you still planning on, like, when you go to the shows that later this year? So your first one's going to be San Diego?
No, Emerald City. That comes in end of March, beginning of April, almost every year.
And then you'll be in LA on the 10th, the 10th of April, which is actually award ceremony. So you guys will be out there, I guess, 3rd or 4th of April for the start of the workshop, or at least Echo will be, and then you come a bit later.
Yes. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Emerald City is the beginning of March. So
okay, good. Then we're fine then. Yeah.
We always have a lot of fun when we go to. And my sister's been threatening my life about I don't know, come visit her anyway, so it's like killing two birds with one stone since she lives in Atlanta. And she's like, I don't know what. She always gets mad because I don't stay with her. She paid all that money to go stay downtown. You can stay at my house. She's got a beautiful home. I mean, she really does have a beautiful home. I'm like, stop. I don't know. Just I don't want to stay with my sister. It's just what I think. And she's my baby sister.
When I go to Las Vegas, I stay with my sister. It's always nice.
Hey, where's is there a show in New Orleans that's decent?
You know, they used to be, but I don't know. So this is some weird. That's what I was getting ready to say earlier, and I forgot. So the shows like these cons, the paranormal shows, you have a bunch of different shows. Just all of a sudden, the South has hardly. If it wouldn't be for Tampa and Dragon Con, I don't think there is any.
No, there's Austin has one. Dallas.
Must not be good because nobody talks about them. I'm just saying, if nobody's talking, if people like me, and especially somebody on the radio, hasn't heard about them, it can't be that good. So it used to be that when I would, and even when I go online now, when I look on it, I used to be I'd be like 100, 150 of them come up. They'd be scattered all over the United States. Now I go on, it's 15 or 20 of them. Most of them are really big ones. They're not really little ones, which don't get me wrong, I enjoy the big ones. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. If you want to go there and see everything for what you're paying, then you're gonna do a lot of walking, a lot of talking, a lot of walking, a lot of talking. I mean, it's just a big. It's Dragon Con is huge. I mean, it's everywhere. And y'all telling me San Diego is bigger, so I'm like, Lord.
Well, it's bigger, but it's different.
It's definitely different. Yeah, San Diego's become much more media. They're the studios have taken that over. That's a big part of it. You got the movies, the TV shows, and gaming. That's the big part there. But you have Atlanta is more still the traditional Comic-Con because it's not in the big convention center. It's all over the place. It's all throughout downtown Atlanta, so you can meet anywhere and sit down and have a cup of coffee someplace and just chat, which is what the old conventions used to be.
But here's how I distinguish them. San Diego Comic-Con is actually two separate conventions held simultaneously in the same building. One is the media convention, like you said, that draws people from all over the world, or people want to fly in. They want to meet their Hollywood movie stars, and they want to buy their super collectibles. But then there's still a very high local population that goes that we see it at San Diego that have just been going forever, and they don't care so much about the media. They're just there to see what's new. And so they do like to see the indies and the small artists and the small things. And the show is large enough that it does satisfy and can both. It's just very crowded. But Dragon Con, I call it as a geek lifestyle con. It's on Labor Day weekend, so there's almost no kids because school starts right around there. It takes place in hotels. Almost the highest percentage of cosplayers of any convention are Dragon Con. People there are partying, but they might have spent 8 months on their costume just so that they can just show it off at Dragon Con.
Oh yeah,
They don't do it at the conventions. They will show it off they might bring it to another convention, but they're showing it off to their peers at Dragon Con. When we go to Dragon Con, that's where we meet the people who come in, because Echo is an Art Nouveau artist. People come to their booth and go, "Oh, I collect Art Nouveau. I live in an arts and crafts home that I specifically bought, and I surround myself with all Art Nouveau art. That's my fandom." There are people who, they come in dressed as a vampire, but that's literally their life. Every single day they dress as vampires. They live in a gothic home. People who they might dress as a comic book character, but they're there for the experience and to meet everybody that likes the same thing as that they do. They're just and when they buy something, they don't mind buying home decor. They'll buy vases in the shapes of their fandom. They'll buy a Doctor Who vase. They'll buy a tentacle vase. They'll buy, they're not just in for buying something they put on their desk at work or something that they can, just put on their shelves next to their comic collection. They're looking for things to put over their bed in their master bedroom. They're looking for, things that will literally enhance their day-to-day life that just are connected to whatever fandom that they have, and that is unique to Dragon Con.
I don't know. I always enjoy it.
And that was a very calculated way of helping people wait until B is on. Hi, B.
Miss Bea Jackson.
So with that bridge, so I would do want anybody that's listening here, I want to encourage you to enter the Writers of the Future and or Illustrators of the Future. You can go to writersofthefuture.com, and that's where you can go to either on the left side, you can navigate all the different icons there, but enter the writer contest or enter illustrator contest. And that's where it's free to enter. It's blind judge. Lazarus is one of the judges for the illustrator contest. And it's open to anybody who's not professionally published. Whoa, here's another one of our judges. Here's a winner from volume 25. It was 25 or was it 24B?
Oh, why are you giving me numbers? I think it's 25.
I think it was 25. She was a winner there and grand prize winner. And it was so great seeing you when you were announced as the grand prize winner. It was like, whoa, it was like a really shocked look on your face there. And, but it was also a solution to a lot of woes that you had at that time with that $5,000 that provided for you. But anyway, definitely enter either contests. It's one of those things that we say over and over again. You've got nothing to lose and everything to win. And the worst that'll happen is you're going to get an email saying, thank you very much, resubmit. But also it gives you that much more practice. And once you get to a certain level, you start getting certificates as an honorable mention, silver honorable mention, a finalist. And at a certain level, you also start getting comments from the judges. So it's definitely worth it to enter the contest. And even if you pro out, meaning you become a professional and don't no longer qualify, multiple of our judges had that as a problem, or not a problem, just as something that happened. Like Kevin Anderson entered many times before he crowed out, and then he became a judge after that. Rob Sawyer, same thing. Brandon Sanderson. So we had several people that didn't have a chance to win the contest before they became a professional. But anyway, B is one of these major success stories of becoming a dream coming true. And now you've got like these amazing projects that you do, and you just went through another Christmas with a lot of your art there at the supermarkets there being used as the bags and stuff like that. Is that happening again this year?
Not this year. So what's really awesome about that program is that each year they find new artists to kind of bring into the space. So you have different artists from different backgrounds, different histories, different communities. So I'm very thankful I was part of the first run of that. But each year it's like a different group of like 4
was
artists.
Was that Kmart or which store was that?
That was a Target.
Target.
So
okay,
it's I think it's called Target Wonder Shop. So it's like a special section in Target that they use to highlight different artists from different communities. And they allow them to showcase their artwork.
That was so exciting to see.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It's probably so exciting to experience and create. So what's your next New York Times bestseller that you're illustrating now?
Well, hopefully my own, So my book is going to be my first author illustrated book called Lily's Dream, and that is actually going to be releasing in a few days.
Oh wow!
Yes, so it's going to be released on the 7th. So yay! I'm excited.
You have it?
I do. I'm trying to see if I have it at my desk. I think I do. Okay, cool. This is my book.
Lily's Dream.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So it was a labor of love. It's actually one of 3 books that I will be doing. So I have this one, and it's going to be 2 ready to reads that kind of explore the relationship between the fairy and the other characters that are introduced in the story. And I have 2 chapter books that'll be following it as well. And also some consideration for figurines for fairies and stuff. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, lots of opportunities that are coming through. I'm glad it was like at my little book stack that I keep next to my desk for inspiration. So I love to collect. I love to collect books from other authors and other artists that I like look through to help me be inspired while I work. So yeah.
Well, you certainly deserve it. I know how hard you work. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So where will that book be? Where will people be able to find it?
Barnes and Nobles, some local bookstores as well. I try to support the local shops as much as I can. But I know it's like other stores have like different things. But I think it's Barnes and Nobles, Borders. Of course, there's Amazon.
Borders is dead these days, but
okay, yeah. I'm like, I can't remember which one it is. It's like
the Barnes and Noble, and there's Books A Million is a chain that's mostly in the South and the East. And then are you also in Canada?
I'm not sure yet. Like, just to give you a window into how it works for me, I'm just at my computer drawing. I'm drawing and I'm writing, and I have a team that kind of helps me with all the other stuff.
Who's the publisher?
Simon & Schuster.
Oh, wow. Okay, good.
Yeah. So I have a really excellent team. They're basically handling a lot of the press side of things. So I tend to get a little overwhelmed with that stuff. So I'm like, I like to just draw. Can I just draw, please? And like write stories and stuff. So they really helped me out with that. So I would struggle with some of those questions, honestly.
That's the Bea I know and love.
Well, I'm honest, Yep.
I was coming back from Frankfurt a couple months ago. I was at the airport and I called Bea because I was landed in Detroit, where I came in from Frankfurt, and then that's where I did the changeover. I had to sign into the country. And so I was waiting. I didn't quite have enough time to go there and see her, so I gave her a call. So we chatted briefly while I was there at the airport waiting for my connection to LA. But so you were busily working still on getting all your drawings done that you're working on, I think, for this book.
Oh yeah, I'm always working.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll be working after this, just staying busy and stuff. But I do have a good work-life balance now. You can't say that was always the case,
No.
so
I can understand that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
actually, earlier today, I hang out with a sketch group. So we just basically take over a cafe and we draw for several hours and stuff. And I got inspired to go to that group after going to the Illustrators and Writers of the Future contest. Because, like, for me, it was my first time being around other artists that
Yeah.
I could, share my skills with, that could help me learn and stuff. And because it's always been such a very isolating experience for me, like where I'm just in my own space. I don't have people that I'm communing with. So I was just really hungry for an environment like that when I got home. So I found one, just like a community of artists that like to hang out. There's an older community as well, like for artists that are like they're more in fine arts and stuff. They take over Coney Island, so it's a big artist community here. So earlier today, that's what I was doing, and I rushed home to come here to be on the podcast.
That's great. And then are you still doing your walks?
Doing my walks?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Not in the winter though. It's too cold.
It's too cold. I'm with you. It is, man. It's too
But
cold.
I got my treadmill. My treadmill is for the winter time. I just put on a show and I get to walking. But in the summertime, I started going. I went from walking to hiking. So I'm a little baby hiker now. So.
Well, that's good. That's good because that was the whole thing you're going through to deal with your health issues from just all you do painting and just letting the body go to the Hades.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to keep a balance there.
Yeah, it's been that balance, finding it out has been a good 4-year journey.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of difference when I come there.
I'm looking forward to it. You look awesome right now. Just looking at you here, just
thank you.
The all-American girl out of her PJs and into her nice shirt.
Oh yeah. I was like, y'all can't see the PJs, not the PJs. That's my standard everyday wear since I work from home.
Yeah.
So I was actually I came home and I changed into the PJs and then just had to fly out of them.
Yeah.
To get on here because I didn't know the camera was going to be on.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Joe and maybe Lazarus doesn't know, but all the clothes that she wears, she buys either the material or the stuff from local vendors. She doesn't go to a store and buy like generic clothes. She'll buy cloth that they make and then she'll sew her own outfit. It's crazy, but she always looks like $1 million, and like her stuff is always so perfect for her body, just the whole look and the whole way you've got that. But then when she told me that she buys material that's handmade, this stuff that's done there and makes her stuff, which is like so cool.
Well, I support other artists that make it. I actually want to go into classes about making clothes, but a lot of the things that I wear at the contest, I actually support other artists. So they do it and then they'll tailor it for me. So there's probably a little confusion there. But anyway, if I have the free time to do it, I would love to learn how to tailor my own clothes. And that would be like a whole another ball game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love fashion.
Yeah, I'm way too lazy for that, man. Get the hell out.
What, me?
Look,
no.
You know what? I say this. No, not you. Yeah, I say this to people all the time. Somebody said, "Why did you throw that piece of paper out your window?" I said, "It's called creating jobs." It's like what? I said, "Yeah, people got to work, man. You can't just be taking their jobs away from them." Seamstresses got to work.
You're so noble, Joe. You're so noble.
Just saying, people need jobs, man. Especially now we got AI out there taking jobs. Whatever jobs we can get, we need to keep in this country. I'm just saying.
Joe's not going to learn how to sew clothes because he doesn't want to take somebody's job away from them.
No, because my clothes would look like it would look like some weird zigzag. I can't even draw a straight line. I can imagine trying to sew a straight line.
Well, yeah, I definitely support my fellow artists in like jewelry making and clothes. Like I love doing that, because there's so many talented people and stuff, and I love to be able to show off what other people have made and like rocket and stuff. So my fashion sense has gotten a lot weirder since you guys have last met me. So for Christmas, I dressed up as a Christmas tree and I had like little deer antlers and I was running around unironically in that stuff.
What's wrong with that?
So yeah, I have fun. It's a form of self-expression and I love being able to, like say who this person is that I got something from and just direct people to them. Like if I can. Yeah.
Emily got these inflatable antlers from somebody from the office. So it's 2 inflatable antlers you strap around your head, and there's little hoops, and you toss the hoops to see if you can get it to land in one of the spikes on the antlers, and playing games back and forth on that.
You know about Charles kinky toys now, man.
No.
we don't need to know. Lazarus, what you think? I know B's like, no, we don't need to know.
Well, I will say that today I just got some fancy earrings that light up.
Hey,
wow.
So that's like my next thing I'm going to
I need some info for my chihuahua so I can see it.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I got the light just bursting out of my soul now. So, so I have fun with weird stuff like that, so I've been having the time of my life in the past, past couple of years, just getting comfortable in my own artistry and where I am in the field. And I would say the contest has helped me in a lot of ways because I'm naturally an introverted person. Yeah, I still am. I probably don't seem
like most illustrators.
Huh? Yeah.
Like most illustrators.
Yeah, and the reason why I do like a lot of meetups, I do meetups and social events is because I try to keep my social skills sharp for when I come and meet you guys. Okay. Like when I meet the new artists or like the artists that are here and everybody, I want to come like as the best version of me to be able to be social and stuff because I'm not sure if you remember this last, but like I think it was like either the second year that I came with you guys, I was trying to hide in the corner and Echo wouldn't let me. She was like, get over here, like come in the picture with everybody. So, I've come through a lot, I've grown a lot. And, I think my story would be like, to help other artists kind of get out their shell, because that's how you get opportunities. You kind of have to not get in your own way and just find comfort in being speaking.
And it is easier to talk amongst your peers. And when you talk about all writers, we're all peers. We really are. No matter what level of success we've had, we all have the same passion, the same interests. Mm-hmm. And all writers have, their peers too. They have all the same interests, the same passions. And so it's a lot easier when you know that you're talking to people who will at least understand where you're coming from. They may not understand, even if they don't understand the language you're using exactly. Know that they're interested enough to bear with you while you explain. They may have learned it differently, and they'll be nodding, but they'll be nodding your heads once they figure out what you're saying equates to what they already do. And that makes it a lot easier to learn how to come out of your shell, is to be amongst peers. And and the next thing you know, you're going to be on podcasts and on TV and
yeah. I mean, like I told some friends I have a podcast tonight and they're like, what's it about? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to wing it.
Well,
but
by the way, I didn't even tell you are.
Oh, I am winging it?
Right now. Yes, you're on Roku TV right now.
Okay.
Not just, well, I mean, we have 9 other video feeds, but we are also on Roku television.
And based on how we've been doing this the last couple of weeks, we're up to like 2.3 million viewers on this right now.
Yeah,
oh, that's awesome.
Lots of people listen. Yeah, we're just trying to train. We're just trying to train them how to take their wallet out. I've actually had a new thing. So before you start the show, put your credit card on the corner of your computer. What was that? I'm sorry.
What was that last?
I was to say, so what does that book cover look like again, B?
Exactly. Oh, okay.
Shameless plugs. Shameless plugs.
I'll always be plugging while you're here.
Yeah.
It's called Lily's Dream, and it has a cute little fairy on the cover.
And it releases in a couple days, like 3 days? Yes.
So it releases on the 7th. On the 7th of January.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm trying to be bold and brave in my own way. So I'm going to try to do a video to post it up on my social media where I'm like introducing myself, because as an illustrator, I'm used to working with authors and being more in the background.
Sure.
which is where I'm most comfortable. You know,
unless you win an award and you go to NAACP awards there in Los Angeles, and I get to be your +1.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
you
pretty-
were
that was a fun night.
emotional support in so many ways. I was having straight up panic attacks just trying to hold it together. That was a rough night for me, for sure. But
You did great, though.
Thank you. I'm trying to not be shy and, you know, let people see me and hear me and just be bold in my own way. So, like, as an introvert to other introverts, it's just something that you have to do to grow and expand and just accept yourself for who you are and, you know, be proud of that, you know, because I think one fear that comes with the introversion is rejection. Like what Laz was saying, it's easier to talk among your peers. I talk among people that I probably wouldn't agree with or wouldn't agree with me. I talk to very, very different people who would not agree with each other, you know, and just being able to be in those different spaces and communicating with different people has allowed me to develop a lot of social skills to connect with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. But it's a slow process. It's a slow learning process for me but I'm really grateful for, because I have some very, very unique friends now.
That's
and
good.
I get invited to very, very unique things now. So, you know,
I wouldn't call it up just to being an introvert, because I know a lot of extrovert people. Nobody likes to be told that sucks, you know, in varying ways. I don't care whether you're extrovert or introvert. Nobody likes to hear that. The only person that maybe that wouldn't, you know, they're so thick-skinned, they're arrogant, but that's not an extrovert or an introvert. That's just, they're arrogant and they're like, that's a different league. They're not artists, you know, by and large. But, you know, I don't know anybody, even the guys that are, you know, like even talking to people like Kevin Anderson or Scott Card and like that, when they get, you know, rejects or they get, you know, their skin can get bruised, you know, when stuff happens, and they're very successful, you know. So it's not so much that they're introvert or extrovert, it's just being able, like you said, being comfortable with yourself. That's what got to get. And because one thing that's going to happen too, is you're going to find as you grow as an artist, which I've really enjoyed, because I kept my tabs on you from the moment when you won, you know, just to track your career as it was going along. And then I asked to become a judge, and you're going to become more and more the person that people are going to ask your opinion on. What about this, about that? And they're going to like, can I talk to her? You know, you know, so you're going to become that person that people are going to be asking, do you think she'd be mind if I came and asked her a question? As you become more established as an author, you know, so you see people like, Echo is very personal, but people are intimidated by her amazingly overwhelming talent, you know, what she can do. There's nothing she can't put her mind on and that she can't conquer in the arts. Larry Elmore, people are just like, oh, he's like a god, you know, for artists, you know. So you see that kind of stuff with the writers. You see people with Larry Niven, you know. He's the creator of Known Space, and like, wow, you know, can I talk to him? Or Orson Scott Card when he's here, and various other judges we've had over the years. You know, just people will do that because they look and just, you know, they won't necessarily know what you went through to get where you are, but they'll see where you are. Yeah. And that's why I do the podcast. I always make a point to go over a person's journey. They made it from where they started to where they are. Because as people they can relate to that, go, wow, they weren't always the demigod that I see them as now. You know, I've been reading their books for 30 years since I was a little kid. Didn't realize that when they started, like Larry Niven started writing because he couldn't handle college. He dropped out of college, you know, and he didn't want to handle that homework. So he usually learned about his science and started applying it to, you know, to his writing there. So it's just different people have different stories, and it's very interesting to learn that. But it's gonna be fun seeing you as your next levels up, as people start asking, you know, can I talk to her? Do you think?
Well, I do kind of deal with it now in my personal life. So a lot of people don't actually know that I'm an artist here. unless they actually see me working and stuff. So I like to let people get to know me first so that the intimidation factor isn't an issue. Because I have had other artists, like, because I'm online too, in different like Discords and things like that. And I've had people reach out to me and they were like really scared to talk to me. And I'm like, no, it's cool. So long as you're not a weirdo, you know, we're good. You're not trying to kill me, you know, that's all right. But I do want people to know that I'm a really chill person. I'm not judgmental or anything like that. I pretty much came up through a lot of struggle. I'm a college dropout. I went to school for arts, didn't make it through. But, you know, so my story is a lot different from like a lot of my peers, but it didn't stop me from still being able to pursue what I wanted. And I'm very thankful that I had a lot of good people in my corner to kind of help me in those tough years.
Yeah.
Because I've been illustrating for 20 plus years, and only recently in the last 5, 6 have I like been in a position where I'm able to make a living off of it. So that's a long time, you know, that I put in just struggle bus, you know.
You're no longer doing the customer service calls then?
Nope, not now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's not the case with all the AI and stuff. But you know, I'm like, if I don't have anything against artists who feel like they have to go back into other work fields and stuff. Sometimes they have to for mental health and, you know, different things that they're dealing with, or they might choose to go into other forms of work so that they can just use their art to focus on what they want to do, instead of using their art to kind of help tell other people's stories.
Yeah.
So everybody has a different background, but I'm a pretty humble person. I don't advertise myself very much, which I get criticized for, you know. But I just try to meet people where they are and connect with them, no matter where they are. I don't think like the status or anything. I don't feel any different. Like I'm still the same person in my heart. I've grown a lot. I'm still the same person in my heart as I was many years ago. You know, I just see people as people, and we're all just trying to make it out here, honestly.
Yeah. So it's I mean, it's interesting because like what you say there, I mean, Dan Dos Santos and Tom Wood both, because they've worked other jobs before, you know, being able to be just full-time doing art, but they made sure that the work that they did to make money to put, you know, food on the table was art related. You know, they worked in the industry. So even if they weren't doing the paintings, they were doing, you know, graphic design and then printing the flyers and going out and putting them on the cars, you know.
Yeah.
So that they do it like that, but they stayed with their, you know, with their art, you know, and then you look like, wow, really? That's what they did? So people, you know, when they realize like, you know, you take a look at the greats, you know, there's like, they went through the hard knocks and they did it. You know, Larry Elmore, how he was, the way he learned how to draw, he had a regular pencil and a knife they would keep it sharpened with. And then every week when his mom came home, because it was a single mom, came home with a box of groceries, they'd cut the box up in all different pieces and he'd illustrate on both sides. That's because they couldn't afford paper. So that's how he started, you know, in his illustration. So it's like people are like, really? You know, it's just, it's amazing that what people started. It's like, but it's got to be that hunger in your heart.
Yeah, I will say for me, my struggle bus story was like you mentioned the phone calls. I worked from home. I answered phone calls for different companies. I was able to figure that out. And while I was answering phone calls, I was drawing at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was basically doing 2 jobs at the same time, like doing children's books. So I would pick jobs that allowed me that freedom where I'm not being, you know, watched in a studio or something like that. So I'm answering calls, typing and stuff. And then the other hand's just, you know, drawing. But that's how I got by for a good 7 years.
Yeah.
Just doing both things at the same time. Whereas if I was like in a regular office, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But for the most part, maybe it's not always, but the artists and the authors I've illustrated and that I've interviewed, they can't not do their art or write their stories. You know, it's just, you can't not, like Lazarus, you know, he was like, I mean, that was a dream of yours for your whole lifetime almost. to write your book and to become a published author, because you wanted to do it as a kid, but nobody gave you the time of day. But they look at a picture. Okay, that's where the attention can come from. But then finally you just said, okay, I'm going to do my book.
Yeah, an entire career, if even multiple ones, depending on how you define them, before, actually being able to have an opportunity to apply to my writing. But I made sure to choose careers that, advertising, it all involves storytelling. Illustration, all involves storytelling. Graphic design, it's communication. That it's, I'm an artist and a writer, and I've found ways of, doing those things however I possibly could in the most cohesive possible ways. And then of course the best thing about having a creative career is that if you can also, your free time is also the time that you get to do what you love. That you can get tired, you can get burned out, you can get, squeezed, but you still have that opportunity to keep yourself up to date, learning the new things, sketching, like you said, and whenever you can, drawing whenever you can, telling stories. Playing role-playing games is telling stories. Telling stories amongst your friends about what happened. That's telling stories. Doodling, heck, even just reading a comic book, studying other people's art, that's all research, and that all goes into your soul when you eventually want to pull it out and spin it in your way to show the world.
Right. And that's one thing that's great with, like I said, all the artists and the writers that I talk to, is like, you all have stories that others can relate to. And like, wow, really? I thought, because all they ever see is your point B. They never see the point A and everything that went up between A to B. They just see you've got a New York Times bestselling book. You've got, an amazing career as an art director. And then you've got this brilliant wife that you work with, and you've been the soldier stud, for her, for her artwork and stuff. And then an award-winning author now. So they look at that and you're like, wow, I could never do that. But what they don't look at is all the work and practice and blood, sweat, and tears that goes into getting you to that point, and unwillingness to give up. That's something
my grandfather had a great quote that I always remember. I don't know if he came up with it, but he raised me with, when preparation meets opportunity, luck ensues. And the only thing you can do is prepare yourself for when the opportunity comes, because every opportunity is going to be different for every person. That you might meet somebody who thinks, who believes in you and teaches you something, or you might meet somebody who thinks that they can exploit you, but but if you play your cards right, you can still get ahead. You might meet somebody, who tries to manipulate you, but then you find out that they have as many enemies as you do. They have as many enemies as they have friends, and those enemies actually respect you for turning them down, and they want to help you. You don't know where any of this is going to come from. Now, my wife Echo, she has done work for clients who hired her for a particular style. She's done a project with them. She impressed them with her professionalism, and later on, the same company would call her back and said, we have this other project. It's in a different style, but we really liked working with you. And we were wondering if you would be willing to try this style. And she's like, how much you paying? and they'll say, well, do vlog. She's like, all right, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a try. So she ends up with a portfolio with all these different bizarre things that don't look like they're cohesive, but it became a career because she developed relationships just from her work ethic. You don't know where things are going to come from. I mean, the old Hollywood trope of someone got discovered when they were doing something. That doesn't happen in this field.
Yeah, but it's funny with with you, Bea, how you got that first book deal because someone else couldn't handle it, so they gave it to you. But because of your relationship with somebody else, that was an awesome story, and then you get a project that turns into a major book.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it took that one book to kind of put me on the map for, I guess, the major publishers.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, I found out later that a lot of major publishers and art directors had already seen a lot of my work in the past. What I ran into is that they said that my art style was unique and didn't really fit children's books. So when that book was successful, the Parker Looks Up book was successful, that secured more deals for me because it was like the first time, I guess, people had seen that particular style in a book format. So I ended up getting linked up with my agent through that book.
Right.
This was my first agent, still with her, amazing woman. But like when we first started working together, she was asking me like, well, what do you want from this relationship? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? These were questions that she asked me. So I was like, well, I would hope that in 5 years I could be working on my own stuff, which ironically I am, so yeah. It worked.
Did you put your little pinky in your mouth and go $1 million?
Yes. but it was great because she had, asked me those questions like, what do I want? What do I hope to gain from this? So I was originally she was like fielding my artwork to like different places to kind of see what their engagement was. And nobody really wanted to engage with my artwork. And I asked her why, so like when they do that, I'm like, okay, what's the feedback? What are they saying? And they was like, we just don't know how this style fits. So it was something that we were considering like, okay, try experimenting, working in different styles, and then we'll pitch that. But before I could even get to that, people that were interested in my style because of that book started to reach out to me and request me specifically. So I never had to change my style up to kind of fit into the mold of what was expected. And now my style has its kind of own niche in there where people, if they want that look, they come directly to me for it. So I'm like, it's funny how that worked out. And then that opened up an opportunity for me to do my own books because I would post like personal illustrations on my feed. I do it rarely because I don't really have a lot of time to do the personal stuff. But one of the personal pieces that I posted was like a gold fairy. And I drew her because I was at a convention center or a community center. And we were just talking about how we don't really see a lot of fantasy characters that look like me, which are Black. And I love fantasy. I love mermaids. I love fairies, all those things. And I was like, you know what? I'm an artist. I can make one, So I went home and I drew up my fairy and I painted her wings with gold mica powder. And so she shimmers when it hits the light. And I posted it on my Instagram with a little story that inspired her. And then I got an email asking me I think it was like a day later, from the editor that I worked with, asked me like, how would you like to do a book about fairies? So that's how my fairy book came about, is because I just was like, I really wish that this existed. And it came to me like that. So that gave me an opportunity to sit amongst a lot of editors with the team that I'm with. And they asked me, they was like, so do you have a story in mind? And I was like, actually, I have quite a few, And that was when they found out that I don't just like to draw, I like to write. They had no idea. I had been working with them for several years. They had no idea that I like to write too. And I was like, I'm really good at like summarizing things and like formulating stories and things like that. And I was able to pitch several of them to them. And they were like, we're really excited to go forward and just create a brand with you and all that. So
yeah. That's similar to Echo's story though too, where she loved her art style and nobody was interested in it, but she just held on to that. And then all of a sudden, or maybe it wasn't all of a sudden, but then it became like she was a go-to person for that art style. Was it Art Nouveau or is it another
Art Nouveau. Yeah.
So that's happened. It was like, it wasn't out there. And then she's just, I love this. And that's what she was doing. So like what you did there too, is just kind of like, she made that a subgenre of art that was popular again. And so you created your own subgenre of fantasy art.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's going into fantasy now because a lot of my work that I do has not been fantasy related, at least with other people's books. It's mostly been historical, which has been very interesting for me because, like, my school system that I grew up in was trash. Like, I didn't learn a lot of stuff in school. Honestly, I was also a terrible student. 2.0 GPA, all that stuff. I wasn't great, but I got an opportunity to learn about different historical figures because people would reach out like, hey, we want to hire Bea to do these illustrations for this book. And I'm like, I've never heard of this person, but I would love to learn about them. So like when I do a lot of the historical books that I have now, it's a learning experience to me, and I can communicate that learning experience through my artwork to kids and like other people from like a blind perspective. So a lot of my work that I got paid for with other clients, with other authors, that's what those are about. My personal stuff, that's when I get to explore fantasy. So that's like my fairy book is the first one with that, and then also the Target Christmas stuff. I was given free reign with that.
Yeah.
So whenever people leave me to my own devices, fantasy is going to come out of it. So yeah.
As an art director, I have to comment on the horrors you experienced of people not being able to claiming that they didn't have they didn't know how to use your art. There isn't a single art director worth their salt in this country that didn't see what you were doing and know exactly how to use it. It was the people who were the decision makers who were deciding what products to make that were not choosing to make products that would feature your art. I just want to make that just clear. And those people, those art directors, basically when someone gave them the go-to, they were jumping out like, "Oh my God, thank you!" Right? That's why they jumped all over you when you had a chance. Somebody needed to have that project, and they did. And everyone in the industry, who was paying attention to you and to that, was probably turning around, picking up that book, walking into the art buyer's office and their VPs and just saying, "Look what we missed out on. What can we do now?" And some of them were going, "Oh, well, yeah, I guess we can start making products that will use her art." And then you got included in that because there was not a situation in which people were questioning your art at all. No one was questioning your abilities or style. And I say that to all the aspiring artists and illustrators out there, is that there's your art does belong somewhere. It's just about finding the person that will help you publish that in however it's going to be. That's really a trick. When it came to Echo, as you were describing, she was doing Art Nouveau. She was doing game art for role-playing games and board games, mostly black and white, and they paid nothing. And she finally pushed back and said, "Well, if you're going to be paying me basically nothing, I want to be able to do whatever I want." And a couple of publishers said, "Yeah, just do whatever you want. We don't care." And so she started exploring, experimenting, and loved the decoration. And then she started developing a reputation for having these decorative elements and decorative abilities. And then she started promoting herself with it for color. It took 2.5 years before someone finally did, and that was Trek Bikes. They called her for a poster for the Tour de France, and she did it. And then it took about a few more months. It took about another year before Arlo Guthrie picked up the phone and called and said, "Yeah, I want an Art Nouveau piece because for my 40th anniversary tour poster of Alice's Restaurant Massacre, and it came out in the 60s at the height of the resurgence of Art Nouveau, so I would like an Art Nouveau piece. But there are only 2 artists in the country that do Art Nouveau, and it's you and Bob Massey, and Bob Massey didn't pick up the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And so suddenly now she had 2 brand names attached to her, attached to her style, and she was able to promote with that. And generally, the reason why it takes so long for an artist to become established is because everyone's waiting for someone else to take the risk. And once you can advertise, hey, these 2 heavy brand names trusted me with this project, and they used it, maybe you can too. And finally people were like, oh yeah, we can do that too.
That's a good point. Yeah, because that's one thing I just interviewed yesterday the publisher of Forward Magazine. It's a very, very nice magazine, for a review magazine for indies, and she was talking about the value of like Writers of the Future, because you need something that you can put on your resume that says I've been published, that then will make somebody else pay attention. So you need that first like recognition from somebody that they'll say, okay, good. I don't have to be the one that takes the risk. You're a proven, artist or writer that I can now move forward with. That you've got something there that I can work with. And so it's also because I know we're getting close to the end here, but that's something that's really important for the Writers of the Future and Illustrators of the Future. And because it will provide that. It will give you not only your own team, like what you've got there, be with, other winners of when you were winning, but also just since then, you've got, a lot of people then that you've become friends with.
Yeah.
Even if just me, but but I know it's more than that. But it's that's one thing that, because it's a big family. Rise of the Future grows every year by 24 people, and so it's, as long as someone wants to be a member of a family, you've got a family that's always got your back there with Rise of the Future and is always willing to help you, and so like in the first hour, I told Lazarus he's got a book coming out, a couple of months. So I said, get it to me so I can read it, and we can do a show on it and just talk about it on the podcast, because it gets, it's not quite as much as this one here, but they're all readers and writers, and we'll get people to know about his book so they can then, hopefully, buy it. And then if you want to, we can also do a thing. Okay, my battery just said I'll switch over now to the.
We got to close anyway. We're getting ready to close out in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's it's just a thing where we have the ability to, to help each other. And that's something I think is really important.
Live long. Live fast, die young, and leave a beautiful corpse. It's a little too late for me. So I don't know what you're talking about there. You should have told me that a long time ago, right? Just kidding. Bea, you always great. Laz, you're always great. We're going to get out of here. I actually have another show to do in 55 minutes. So
thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Very good.
Hopefully, I'll see y'all soon. Y'all stay out of trouble. Keep an eye on this guy down here in the right corner. Yeah, y'all keep an eye on this guy. He's been up some stuff lately. I'm just telling y'all. Keep an eye on him. Anyway, we're going to go. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to United Public Radio and the Authors Quill. I hope everyone enjoyed the show tonight. As I say every week, any moans, bones, glitches, or complaints, please write to Michelle DeRoche, because you're not going to like what I got to say. So just write to her. Good night, everybody, and I'll see y'all in an hour.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
This is another year, isn't it? Damn. Goodbye.